So a lot of people have been asking me about my recording process. Okay, so no one's been asking me, but I thought some of you guys might be interested in checking it out. So this is where the magic happens. Yep. I like this setup because I can start working right as I get out of bed. And then when I'm done for the day, I can go right back to bed and start the process all over the next day. And that's how my life's been for the past few months. I'm using a program on my laptop called Logic Pro. What's nice about having a laptop is it's kind of like a studio on the go. This enables me to work on a lot of things anywhere I want in any situation. So for example, as of right now, I'm using program drums, which means I can create a whole drum beat on Logic Pro. And I can create different rhythms at different tempos, different speeds, and I can create beats and fills and anything I want. So it's just like playing the drums, but a lot longer. And it takes a bit of work to make it sound realistic. There's a lot more to it than just making the beat. And the main reason I do this is I just don't really have a way of recording live drums right now, and even if I did, I'm not sure they would sound that great, but I'm happy with the results I'm getting with this. And it's nice because I can do this anywhere, you know, just put my headphones on and create some drum beats. There are basically 3 ways I record. The first way is through USB. If I'm recording piano parts or strings or synth or any kind of instrument that's kind of hard to come across, I can just plug in my MIDI keyboard, and then there's all these different samples on Logic Pro that make different sounds. So it's nice that whatever I'm hearing in my head, I'm not limited just because I don't have access to that instrument. The other great thing is once you record the sound, you have a lot of control over what you do with it afterwards. You can actually move the notes around or control the intensity of those notes, how long they hold out, and you can delete or add notes. So the upside is you have a lot of control and not a lot of limitation to what you're doing. The downside is it doesn't always sound realistic. For bass and electric guitar, I can plug directly into my computer using my audio interface. This is similar to MIDI in the sense that you have a lot of control over the sound after you record it, but you're actually recording audio. So instead of these little dots that you can move around, you're getting an actual audio wave. That recorded audio is then played through an amp simulator to create different tones. This works really good for bass, and it works pretty good for clean electric guitar or even crunch. But once you start getting into heavier styles of music, a lot of the amp simulators kind of suck when it comes to distortion. So it's usually better just to mic a real amp. But if you experiment enough, you can actually make some pretty usable tones. Some instruments have to be recorded with a mic. So for that, I go to church. Whoa! So here we are in the upper room at my church. The main reason I come here is whenever I need to record something with a microphone. See, at my house, there's too many people, it gets really loud, it's hard to find a quiet time of the day to record. So I come here during the weekdays, no one's here, it's nice and quiet, and I'm able to record those things. Whenever you're recording with a microphone, you always have to be mindful of any kind of background noise that might be happening. It could be people in the next room, it could be some kind of vent, or even here, I have to be careful with the fluorescent lights because they buzz. Because of that buzzing, I usually just turn the lights off and use these moody lights instead. So here we are in the sound booth, also known as a closet. You probably notice all this foam stuff around me. What this does is it minimizes any kind of reverb or reflection that might happen in this room. But you can see I've got a mic behind me for vocals, so I can come in here, scream my head off. It's not soundproof, but it is kind of upstairs, so I don't have to worry too much about people hearing me. So once I've finished recording everything, that's when the mixing stage starts. And for that, I'm going to need my studio monitors, which are back at home. Whoa! See, not every speaker's the same. Some speakers will add extra low end to your mix and make it sound really bassy, while some will lack that low end to make it sound really thin. So it's important to have accurate speakers when you're mixing so that you can have a consistent sound no matter where your mix is played. These speakers have what's known as a flat EQ. That means it's not adding anything extra or taking anything away from the mix. Of course, I'll still listen to my recordings through different speakers just to make sure everything's consistent, but this is where I focus most of my mixing. I always learn something new every time I mix. Whenever I think I'm done, I always find something that I have to go back and fix, which really sucks. Probably the biggest thing I've learned about mixing is to get it right the first time. If you've got good, clean recordings and they sound awesome on their own, then you're going to spend more time mixing and less time fixing. And I spend a lot of time fixing. Most people would say you can't get a professional sounding mix with a setup like this, but I say let the results speak for themselves.